Chuck, on the eve of his retirement, is every bit as young a man as he ever was. He has the same kind of youthful energy, the same kind of anticipation of the future, the same kind of commitment to the youth, the young people who really do make UCLA the place of the future.
He's a visionary leader. He has the ability to look to the future and think of the future. And unfortunately, he sees what's needed. And he finds a way to meet those needs by twisting the arms of his friends. So being a friend of Chuck Young makes you a philanthropist, whether you want to be one or not.
He made every human being he met feel that they were his equal. And he used that kind of leadership for years to build UCLA into, I believe, one of the top 5 graduate schools in the country.
I think that the building of the infrastructure that enabled research to be done on a scale that led us to international recognition was pretty much done by Chuck Young picking people that understood what the challenges were and how they might be met.
And I don't know how he does it. I've only been here for 2 or 3 years, but there is no question that this is a campus that has been able to attract some of the very best people we have in this country and in the world, and I have to assume that if it hadn't been for the Chancellor, it wouldn't happen.
He's managed always to keep a steady, principled, ethical thread of commitment to public and social value through all the inevitable daily political compromises that are required to manage a place of this size and complexity. I mean, I admire the energy, I admire the tenacity, I admire the imagination.
I like Chuck very much personally. I know what he is. I'm very fond of him. And that's why I'm still working for the campus. The pay is not very good, you know, for volunteers. I thought there was a minimum wage in America, but Chuck doesn't even pay you that.
He is somebody that has a big heart. He has a very strong ego, but by being strong, it is a very humble ego. It's somebody who is comfortable with whoever he is dealing with. Chuck never feels that he's more important than they are. I've only seen Chuck humbled once, and that was on the golf course. I mean, here he was playing with the President of the United States, and I don't think he hit the fairway once.
As a competitor, he is fierce. He's absolutely as fierce as they come, whether he's the competitor or whether his football team is the competitor or whether his basketball team is a competitor.
We happen to sit behind him at the basketball games. Chuck has a passion for this game. I mean, the intensity level when the game starts with Chuck is something to behold. In fact, it's amazing to me that 20 rows up in the stands, Chuck has the ability to make a call which the referees don't agree with, but at any rate he does, and he flies out of his seat. And so that's Chuck Young. He's behind the team every minute of the game.
And I can remember an incident up in Washington. We were playing the Huskies up in Seattle, and it was a very difficult game, and we finally got control of the game in about the last 2 minutes of the game. And we're playing in front of 70,000 people. And Chuck Young is on the sidelines, and the Chancellor is screaming at an official about a bad call. And I literally had to scream at the Chancellor to get off the field before he got me a 15-yard penalty and cost our team the victory. But the good news was he didn't fire me.
There are people who would be critical of him, saying that because of his visibility, primarily at football games, that he shouldn't be doing that. But I think that's fine. I'm sure that he would rather have the medical school be greater at UCLA than the basketball program or the football program, yes. But he wanted every area, every department to do well.
20 years from now, people will look at UCLA and they will say, Chancellor Chuck Young was a person who brought UCLA to top academic excellence.
I think that they're going to look among the students that graduated from UCLA during his tenure. I think they're going to find Nobel Prize winners. They're going to find people in the world of the creative arts. They're going to find people in the performing arts. They're going to find people in the world of education. They're going to find people at every single solitary level who are going to exhibit and exemplify what Charles Young really stood for. Charles Young's real achievement will be the results and the performance of the people whom he assisted in getting an education.
He wanted UCLA to be the best, and he built it in such a way that it is the best.
His leadership as the chancellor has brought it from an emerging campus, the southern branch of the University of California, to the point where it stands alone among the highest quality institutions available anywhere.
The leadership of Chancellor Young is effective, and the proof of it is that you have a great university there, a university that did not start out in the same position when he came in there as it is today.
His legacy is he built one of the finest schools in the world under very difficult circumstances. There's no secret there's been a shortage of funds and all the other problems.
When he took over during his first year as chancellor, the budget for the university was $170 million. He will leaving behind a budget that is approaching $2 billion annually.
But the bigger thing in my mind is to go from a very good university, UCLA, to go to a world-class institution. And that takes really great professors, it takes fabulous libraries, it takes a lot of outstanding students, and UCLA's got those things, and Chuck Young is responsible for that.
His hand was strengthened too by Sue Young's contribution. She lent a great deal of grace to the operation.
And Sue Young is actually one of my favorite people that I've ever met in my life. She's very warm, very open, very kind, and I'm going to miss her probably more than I'm going to miss Chancellor Young.
I can't speak as a couple about what about UCLA gives us the greatest satisfaction. For me, it's that he has done a wonderful job, that UCLA is Chuck Young.
The Chancellor has left a great, great foundation upon which others will improve. And Chuck Young will be dearly missed. But what he's built and what he's established here will be enhanced and improved as the future years go on.
I don't think that the university community and the broader community here in California really fully appreciates the greatness of this man. I don't think that most people have fully sat back and said, what does this mean, his retirement?
You know, one gets a pang of anxiety over somebody else stepping in here, coming into this place and being in charge. We just hope we can do an awfully good job, and that the president of the university will do an awfully good job, and the regents will do an awfully good job in selecting his successor.
If he or she doesn't already know this place, to get to know it, to love it, and to always act the way a lover should act with a loved one.